To all the people out there who work as scarers in haunted houses, what was your best scare reaction? Submitted by JXSTYLES. All volunteer haunted house. In 1 year we have like 10 teen guys show up dressed as the Grim Reaper. Okay, well, monsieur, the organizers decide to put them all together in a corridor and make people walk a gauntlet through menacing sights. This one young woman is really freaked out as she edges through the rooms, senses on high alert, visibly shaking. As a living mannequin, I decide to just say a quiet "good evening," which sends her scrambling away from me into the Reaper's corridor. They all converge eagerly, scythes flashing, and she shrieks and drops like her strings got cut. She's passed out cold. All the Grim Reapers are standing over her uncertainly, shocked. Then from one skull comes a wavering, really worried, "Oh, shit, we killed her." Worked at a haunted house when I was younger as a youth job. It was a lot of fun. I had to sit in this narrow hallway in a doll costume and sit perfectly still. Then when people passed me I would suddenly move, making it look like I was trying to grab them, and do my best creepy voice saying stuff like "come play with me" or "stay with me forever." I got some great reactions, though some stand out more in my memory. The dude that tried to scooch by the opposed wall while muttering, "Nope, nope, nope, nope," and when I reached for him, he did this weird jump thing. The kind you see cats doing in videos while yelling, "Fuck no Annabelle looking bitch." Then there was this group of dude bro looking guys that were 100% sure I was a human-sized doll, spending the whole walk down the hallway saying stuff like "that shit isn't that scary. It doesn't even look very lifelike." Weren't they surprised? God, being a scarer was fun. 10 out of 10 would do again. Maybe 5 to 6 years ago I worked at an amusement park that converts much of the park into multiple haunted houses. I worked in the area that was a haunted butcher shop. I was in a room that was supposed to be where everything got gutted, and a wall had this thick, fake gore with a person-shaped outline. I wore a suit that had the same fake gore on the front. In the dark light, I was practically invisible. One girl was on her phone and totally not paying attention, but her friends saw right through my camouflage and motioned for me to hop in line behind their friend. I followed them for a little ways and finally this chick looks up from her phone and starts to turn to talk to her friend. Not realizing that I was mere inches behind her, she turns and we're close enough that I can see her pupils as they widen. She jumped probably a foot in the air and sprinted through the rest of the maze. Her friends couldn't stop laughing on the way out. I actually knew a couple of the actors in a Fright Night event at a farm about an hour away, and when I entered the first of like 12 scares, I tried to comfort my older brother by saying, "It's okay," brother's name, and putting my hands on his shoulders. One of the actors heard me say this, unfortunately for my brother, and followed us for the entire scare, screeching his name at every turn. Even I was shitting myself. He didn't partake in any of the other scares. Needless to say, had a dude once come through, jumped a bloody mile in the air when I scared him. Monsieur, he just stopped with this far-off look and said, "I just shit myself." I stayed in character till the smell hit me. I broke and asked if he wanted an escort. Dude seemed to snap out of it and said, "Nah." I pinched the rest back, and off he marched. The coolest room I ever worked in was very innocent seeming at first. It was the last room in a fairy tale themed house. It looked like the inside of a little storybook cottage. Cutesy music was playing. There was a fake window with a meadow painted outside it. On a wall was a chalkboard and pieces of chalk available. The chalkboard was split down the middle by a line. Said, "Were you scared?" at the top and gave you the option to mark yes or no on one side of the line. That's where I came in. The chalkboard was actually a draw panel. essentially a hidden window that loudly slams open to reveal a cast member on the other side. I was painted up like a horrible, gory Snow White. When I dropped the panel, it also triggered all the lights in the room to go out except for black lights which revealed hidden evil drawings all over the walls, and an air cannon would blast people from behind, making them feel like something was touching them. Monsieur. It was just the best room because people felt safe. They finally let their guard down when they saw this cheerful space, and when they went to put a mark on the chalkboard, often bragging to their friends, that wasn't scary. That's when bang, blackout, satanic scrawlings everywhere, air cannon smacking their heads, and evil Snow White was cackling in their faces all in the span of 1 second. They always ran out shrieking bloody murder. Never trust the last room, monsieur. So I worked as a scare actor at a haunt on an old aircraft carrier from World War II for a couple of years. There were 2 parts to the haunt. One below deck in what was called sick bay, which was mainly the ship itself being old and creepy. Up top was the more traditional Halloween haunt maze with themed rooms and chainsaw guys. Normally I worked in sick bay, but that night I was put in the maze. I was in the bathroom themed room and was the victim of the deranged plumber actor. So I'm sprawled out on the floor, and when people walk by, I lunge and groan and beg for help. It worked pretty well. Then this one woman came in wearing high heels. I don't know who wears high heels to a haunted house on an aircraft carrier, but hey, you do you. Anyways, she doesn't see me on the ground and manages to step on my arm with her heels. I know we had strict rules about not touching the patrons, but due to the pain, surprise, I wasn't thinking, and I grabbed her ankle in hopes to get her off me. This lady screamed and bolted for the emergency exit hallway that would take her out of the haunt, leaving her friend behind and dumbfounded. I felt terrible at the time that she missed out on the rest of the haunt, but now I laugh about it, because I really scared her. Different haunt for Valentine's Day in a defunct mall. It was set up in a vacant department store, and my room had one of those pillars with a mirror on it. The room was set up like a bedroom, with an actual 4-poster bed. There was ample room to hide behind the pillar and jump out at people. And people expected this. I'd often see people think they were being clever and trying to get the drop on me. I, however, was lying on top of the canopy for the 4-poster bed. There was a wooden board up there strong enough to support me and keep me out of sight. They'd fail to find anyone behind the pillar. Turn. And then I lunged at them from the canopy and they'd scream, "Monsieur." I really loved that job. I volunteer as a wall of spooky living mirrors in a little family-friendly haunted house for a couple of nights every Halloween season. Basically, I poke my hands in a plastic skull through panels of stretchy silver fabric while kids are walking by. The best are the kids who are brave enough to announce that they know it's not real. It's just someone behind the wall, and to try to grab me through the fabric, but not fast enough to get their hands away before I grab back. Turns out that even if you're feeling brave, you still screech when a mirror grabs your fingers and tugs. Not a scarer, but one of my earliest memories involved riding on my dad's shoulders and getting hit in the eye by a haunted house mummy with a fingertip squirt gun. He felt so bad. He leapt out of his sarcophagus and broke character to apologize and make sure I was alright. That's when I learned that the undead could be pretty alright sometimes. Not a haunted house, but a zombie run. I was the last zombie before you could escape. I'm 4 feet 11. I look pretty weak and I wear glasses, which I had fixed with tape as part of my costume. I was supposed to have been a medic before I became a zombie. Despite how I look, I have a very loud voice, am good at screaming, and I'm a good runner. My job was to mill about near the end of the course and catch and tag as infected anyone I felt like. I used to approach or look distracted as people crept towards me. Not all zombies attacked, so people weren't sure how to deal with me. Plus there were some who had acquired zombie repellent and were quite confident. Spoiler: zombie repellent doesn't work. I'd wait until they had just passed me before unleashing an unholy scream and sprinting after. Monsieur, I caught quite a few, but the best reactions were a fully grown man who cried actual tears and asked for his mum, and a girl who pissed herself, then threw her water bottle at me. It was a lot of fun, and all the screaming was quite a good core workout. My abs were agony for days after. Finally, something I can answer. I was a scarer at HHN in Universal Orlando in 2015. I was in the Asylum in Wonderland house. The thing about those houses is that if you walk at a faster pace than you're supposed to, you can kinda beat the scarers to the punch and pass them before they can jump out at you. One time some teen kid figured this out and stepped into entrance to the space I was hiding to jump out. He was like, what's up?" And it caught me so off guard I was like, hey, whoa, quote. It was he who scared me and not the other way around. I got fired for unrelated weed-related reasons a few hours after that. Edit spelling. My family don't celebrate Christmas like they do for Halloween, and I'm their prime scarer. Last year a group of teen girls looked in on me doing my act and walking while doing a bridge, the upside down thing on all fours, and ran out of the room and didn't stop until they were off the property. They didn't even make it past the door. I broke my finger trying to get up, but it was worth their reaction. Buckle up because this is a bit of a long one. Back in I think 2006 or 2007 I was working at a haunted house playing Freddy Krueger in one of the first rooms in the haunt. We had radios in all the rooms we would use to call out when we had a guest that screamed more than normal. Now I had the room set up so that the Elm Street sign was maybe 3 feet away from the door, and an old boiler I could hide behind and pop out of combined with an actual metal bedazzled prop glove. This lady and her kids walk in and I popped out, but I hit the glove on the boiler at just the right angle so some sparks popped from the metal on metal contact. The lady freaked out, fainted and hit her head in the pole holding the street sign. The lights in the building had to be cut on. Ambulance called. The whole 9 yards. She was bleeding but wasn't seriously hurt, and somehow didn't she the ever-lovin' fuck out of us. They did take away my metal glove and replaced it with a plastic one that broke within 10 minutes of doing my bit though. Absolute funniest thing that ever happened to me while I was there. I worked in a haunt that was an old prison. I was dressed as a clown and I was hidden in the last jail cell next to the back door. I quickly learned that, as a clown, all I needed to do to get a great reaction was show myself. I stepped out in front of these 2 middle-aged black women. One of them screamed and leapt backwards off her feet, and slammed onto the ground so hard her wig flew off. I didn't even have time to wonder if I should break character, because she grabbed her wig and ran out the door in a blink of an eye with her friend chasing after her.